Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the SBD Odds Pod. I'm Matt McEwan, joined by Frank Michael Smith. Frank, how you doing today?
Matt, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. I already got a couple bets in. I'm ready for wildcard weekend. I'm here in Los Angeles.
Playoffs are here.
The playoffs are here. I'm here in Los Angeles. It is a total, complete lockdown. There is nothing that sounds better to me than watching a 6-game slate of wildcard weekend.
I love the extra 2, Frank. I know you were telling me earlier that you were kind of had some mixed feelings. I dig it. An extra 2 games of playoff football. I don't know what could go wrong.
I don't know what could either. This is a weekend where you want to be quarantined, like I was saying. And, I did have some mixed feelings about it. Early in the season, I'm just not a fan. Like, look at the NBA, for example. They let 8 teams in, and almost always the 7 or the 8 seed, at least in the Eastern Conference, is a team with a losing record. I just didn't want to see that happen to the NFL. I really like their playoff structure. But now that I think about it, it is kind of weird that the 2 seed got a bye. Like, you didn't win anything. You didn't win the conference. This is cool.
Yeah.
And we have more games. I was telling you before we started, everyone feels like they should be in there, at least in the AFC. And it'll be fun in the NFC too. I'm really happy about it.
Well, hey, I mean, Washington would have got in regardless. 6-team, 7-team playoff, right? They get in no matter what, either way. But yeah, I hear you on the Bears. They're kind of the team that would have been left out in the regular playoff structure. But we'll get to it. I'm not ready to write them off this week. I'll say that much.
There's some Cinderella value too. Like, it almost makes me feel like the tournament. Like, these teams, I am kind of ready to write them off, but they seem like such underdogs to even be in there. I can't believe the Bears are in the playoffs. I know how the football team got in, but there's some Cinderella value. It's like, wow, that could be really, really, really exciting if somehow they did win.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great matchup for them. And I say that just strictly based off of, recent history in the playoffs and how the, specific team has performed there. Not too well, obviously. But yeah, Frank, so we got a new segment today. Roll it out to us. What are we doing?
It's currently untitled. We're just going to call it, I'm working off the top of my head here, full slate review. I want to go through each team and give our thoughts, our confidence about the team in specific. So, it's kind of bigger. Like I said, we have 12 of these teams. We're going to go through each of them. We're each going to say how confident we are in this specific team. Not necessarily the matchup, what we like about them, how confident we are, and we'll just run through the gauntlet here. So if you want to kick it off, let's start with the Colts.
Let's start with the Colts. I'm confident in this team. I don't love Phillip Rivers, and if you get a defense that can pressure him consistently, especially in his face, if you can push forward, make him move side to side in the pocket. I don't love Phillip Rivers, but I really like this defense. And I really like their running game. Jonathan Taylor's been unbelievable the last handful of games. I'm confident in this team. Frank, what about you?
I'm not very confident. I've never been a Phil Rivers guy. And I do think part of it is just because how he throws the ball. I can't stand it. It's so ugly looking. I hate it. And this isn't even Philip Rivers from 10 years ago. Like you mentioned, if you pressure him, he's not going to be good. No. I've kind of been out on this team all season long. I've bet against them a number of times. They've pretty much burned me. I'm sure I've lost money on the Colts this season, but they do have a good defense. They do have a good running game. Quietly, John Taylor is like 3rd in the rushing yards for the entire league. It's hard to believe, but I'm pretty sure that's true. I'm not confident in this team. They do have the us against everybody mentality, which is dangerous come playoff time. But I'm just not in. I haven't been in on the Colts all season long. I'm not about to start now.
I hear you. And I mean, hey, they haven't covered in 3 straight. So, I mean, it's not like if you've been betting against them, you've been hot lately.
I haven't. That's the problem.
You gave up. You gave up on it.
Yeah, all the wrong weeks. Them and the Cardinals have done that to me all season long. Let's do the Colts opponent, the Bills.
The Bills. I am confident in this team. I think they've taken their playoff beating, last year to go down to the Texans the way they did. Josh Allen, I don't want to say he struggled in that game, but he certainly wasn't the Josh Allen, we're used to now. He had some costly turnovers as well. I think this is a different team. This is a hungry team. Kind of they're very confident, and that's what is making me confident in them as well. I am in on the Bills, and I am betting them this week. I figured this line would be moving, in favor of Buffalo. Opened at 7. I figured we'd see this maybe get to 7.5, and it's gone the other way. At some books it's down to 6.5. So I am in. I love this line. I'm all in on Buffalo, and this is a great one to tease down too. And we'll talk about that a little more later.
I'm in as well, and I think we should give like a rating here. What confidence, if you had to go decimals, like 8.3, are you above, below that?
Yeah, so where I was on the Colts, I'm probably about a 7.2 on the Colts. Buffalo, I'm about an 8.1 right now. I'm feeling very good about this team. Josh Allen is just proving everybody wrong. Just making all the big throws. I am about a 8.1, 8.1.
8.1. I'm gonna go with an 8.5. I am almost all the way in on the Bills. I don't think they're scared. They're not scared of the Chiefs. They're not scared of anybody. They're explosive on offense. They kind of switched from last year. Like last year, they were so good defensively. This year, they're so good offensively. It's a little weird. If the NFL had Most Improved Player award, I think it would probably have to beat Josh Allen. Ever since I made the video on him, and I know his whole backstory now, I have this emotional attachment to him. I love his story. He's clearly such a leader. I think they believe in themselves, like you said. I'm in. 8.5. We'll get to them in the Super Bowl futures later in the show too.
I love it. Moving on to who we got next here. We'll do Seattle.
Let's do it.
Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks this is a team, I got to say, I have lost a lot of confidence in over the last, what are we looking like? Basically the second half of the season here. Do you know how many times this team has scored more than 30 points in the last, what are we looking at, 2, 4, in the last 8 games, Frank? This is a team who has scored more than 30 points once. This was the most explosive offense in the league through the first half. As Mahomes and the Chiefs kind of got off to a bit of a slow start offensively, the Seahawks were the team everybody was talking about, and that has completely evaporated. I don't really know what has gone wrong with that offense. Wilson's not making the same big time throws that he was. This is a team that we've seen lose some kind of ugly games. They lost at home to the Giants. I'm not feeling confident at all in the Seahawks. I'd like that they get back Jamal Adams, but I'm at like a 5.8 right now with the Seahawks.
Wow, a 5.8. I'm higher than that.
Don't feel good.
I feel pretty good, and I'll give you a reason here. You talked about their offense not being as good. At that same time, their offense was very good. Everyone was trashing their defense. Now, I'm looking this up right now to make sure I have it right, but their defense has quietly turned everything around. I know they got some people healthy. I think they might have even made a trade. They haven't allowed more than 23 points since they played Buffalo in week 9. I mean, it's been a long time. Like, that's almost like 2 months, right? Yeah. They do have the defense now.
Half the season.
Yeah, it's a long time. They do have the defense now. I trust Russell Wilson. This is just like that was a Josh Allen bet before. This is pretty much a Russell Wilson bet. I'm counting on him. I know they're going to be playing home games. What'd I say, 7.5? I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, no, you're feeling much better about them than I am. Moving over to the Rams. I'm going to say I'm quietly confident in this Rams team, whether it's Jared Goff or John Wolford at quarterback. They both bring very different, pros and cons, right? With Goff, you have the, bigger arm, more accurate downfield passer, obviously much more familiar with the offense, more experienced, right? But he's got those cement feet. He doesn't move around in the pocket very well. Just doesn't escape pressure. He's no threat to run. Where John Walford, we saw this last week, hey, you got off to a very slow start. You could tell he had a little bit of jitters in the beginning of the game, but he settled in and he started looking pretty good. And he does have that athleticism. I think his legs make this Rams offense. I mean, it makes up for me. It makes up for what he lacks in experience, in ability to throw the ball downfield, familiarity with the offense. And again, I don't want to say John Walford does not have the ability to throw the ball downfield. We just haven't seen that much of it. So I am quietly confident in this Rams team. Great defense. Andrew Whitworth is coming back. Cam Akers looks healthy. I feel good about this team. I'm looking at probably like a 7.2 right here.
Simmering. Not quite boiling, but simmering.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not as high. I was, as we talked about in the first 2 episodes of the show, I'm pretty in on the Rams. I really like that they have a great defense. I saw a crazy stat about Jalen Ramsey that he only allowed, in the most prolific year of NFL passing ever, he was only allowing 20 yards per game. I mean, for the big contract, he totally earned it. You didn't hear his name very much this season, which is the telltale sign of a great cornerback. The defense is great. I'm not sure it matters who's at quarterback at this point. I mean, people are so down on Jared Goff, and I don't know what's up with his hand. I'm just not confident in him. There's too many question marks in that offense. I'm not quite simmering. I think I'm still like, the water is still cold or it's room temp. I'm gonna go with like a 6.4. Not a team I'm comfortable betting on. They haven't. I can't pull out my wallet for the Rams.
Hey, I appreciate that. I get where you're coming from. I mean, they've covered one spread in their last 3. I get it. I hear it. But yeah, moving on here to the Saints. You want to go first here, Frank? What do you got?
Sure. All right. The Saints. I got a theory here for the Saints. Let's take it back to Peyton Manning's Super Bowl run with the Broncos. There's everyone kind of knows he's going to hang it up after the season. Drew Brees has hinted at the same thing. They're going to be playing at home. I think this is a storyline that the refs have in mind, that, his teammates have in mind. Let's send Drew out on top. Maybe they get a few calls. He's going to need it. I mean, we've seen Drew Brees this year. He's clearly not the same guy he was in his prime. I definitely like them playing at home. They're always better in the dome. They won the division. They have that right. I'm confident in the Saints. Hopefully Kamara's okay. I just don't know when these players come back from COVID. It's a question mark. That is going to knock my rating down a little bit. But they have a good defense. I like the Saints. I am comfortable betting on them, but just maybe in a tease scenario. I'm not, plucking hundreds out of my wallet, just ready to bet on the Saints straight up. Let's put it like that. I like it at like a 6.8.
Okay.
No, I'm going to bump it up. I like a 7.1, bumping it up.
Okay. I'm much colder than you then on this team, and let me tell you why. I love what the Saints have done this year, regular season. Overcoming no Drew Brees for a while. Taysom Hill comes in. They run a very different offense, and they kept on winning, and they've done that every year in the regular season for the last handful of years now. Basically in the Drew Brees era here. They've won in the regular season, but what have they not done? They have not won in the playoffs. And this team seems to just find ways to lose. Last year, they get upset by the Minnesota Vikings in the first round. You look back to the Rams, look back to the previous season with the Minneapolis Miracle. This is a team. Even go all the way back to Marshawn Lynch, going beast mode, beastquake on the Saints. Right. This is a team that just finds ways to lose in the playoffs, and for that reason, I mean, as much as I like their matchup, because they're getting arguably the worst team in the playoffs is who they're playing this week, but I don't feel good. I don't feel good with this at all. I'm at like a 6.2, and I'll tell you what, I've sprinkled a little bit of money on the Bears money line. I've got them at plus 350, and
okay.
I love the value there in just knowing that the Saints find ways to lose.
All right, fair enough. Let's go. Let's move on.
So the Bears. I'll go first here. I'm at a 5.2 with the Bears, and this is why I've only sprinkled a little bit of money on the Bears money line here. I'm not making any big play on them.
Well, like a quarter unit? What are we
That
talking?
bet is I went a half unit.
Okay.
And the reasoning there, this is more of a bet against the Saints as it is, a bet for the Bears, right? Mitchell Trubisky has kind of, tricked everybody a little bit. We think is he is he still the quarterback of the future here in Chicago? I've heard this from a few people. I do not like this. He's not. I think what you just saw in the last handful of weeks here of the regular season is probably the worst thing that could have happened to this Bears team, because now you're in a terrible position next year. But that's stuff we'll talk about for next year. Right now, good defense, not a great defense anymore, just good. And I don't think David Montgomery is going to go wild against any playoff defenses. And Mitchell Trubisky will go back to the Mitchell Trubisky we knew. So I don't feel good about this team. I'm way out on the Bears, especially after this. My Bears money line bet is more that's betting against the Saints.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from there. It's kind of, it's the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody on any given week. It's the playoffs. These teams are going to come ready. We hope so. I see the value there. Your number was 5.2.
Yeah, 5.2.
I'm gonna go
just
way,
barely bettable, basically.
I'm gonna go way lower. I'm at a 3.5 for the Bears. I am completely out on the Bears. I have zero trust in their offense to score points. I've watched them this year, and I've bet on them. I've bet against them. I prefer not to watch them or bet on them at all, and that's exactly why my number is so low. This offense is disgusting. When this offense is bad, it's like worst in the league bad. It's tough to watch. It's like they might not get a first down for a whole quarter bad. I can't do it. There's no possible way I can bet on Mitch Trubisky. I mean, imagine that. Imagine watching a game and they go down 7-0, 10-0, who knows, 17, maybe 13-0. And you're thinking to yourself, I cannot believe I just bet on Mitch Trubisky in the playoffs as an 8-8 team. Like, I just can't. There's no possible way I can rationalize that to myself. I can't do it. I'm out. 3.5? Is that what I said? That's it.
Yeah. Hey, my fingers are crossed they don't fall down and I don't have to live that out on the weekend. Jumping to, I skipped a couple there, Frank. Sorry. I jumped a little ahead in the schedule. Let's go back to Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers, I am a 7.2 in terms of confidence in the Bucs. And here's why. They have not performed well in prime time this season. And again, I won't dive too much into the matchup, but the Bucs are 1-3 in games played at 8 p.m. or later this season. And the one win that they have in a primetime game came against the Giants. And we remember how that went. It was a 2-point victory, not a very impressive performance. I don't know why. This is just a team that has struggled late. And, sure, hey, one of the games against the Saints, they've had some stiff competition there. But we're also talking about a loss to the Bears in a primetime game here as well. So I am not that confident in this team. I think they've got a ton of weapons. There's going to be a lot more hype than there should be because Tom Brady's there. But I do not trust this team very much. And when I say very much, not as much as others are. 7.2 is still a fair amount of trust here, but I'm sure, Frank, I think your number might be a little higher here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I'm at a 7.2 with Tampa Bay.
You know what? My number was going to be higher, but I think I just got sold. When you bring up that Saints game, it's really hard to not bring the number down. That was a really painful betting loss for me and everyone else in America. I think a lot of people, that was like the definition of a trap game. Maybe you remember, I don't remember, but it was a total trap number on that game. I got beat on it by like 40 points. I mean, that was really tough to swallow. That was almost as bad as my Patriots when the Patriots beat the Chargers and I had the Chargers and I gave that pick out to everyone. It was almost as bad as that, except I didn't give the Bucs out. They're totally untrustworthy. You're right. I mean, I'm trying to rationalize it to myself and say, Antonio Brown's coming on. The offense looks great. I had a stat I pulled up, doing some research before the pod. I think they've scored 38 or more points 6 times this year. That's got to be number one in the NFL. I mean, when their offense is on, it's really, really on. It's gasoline. It's 92 premium. You know, we love this team when they're on, but there's just no telling if they will be. They're on the road. Of course, they get an easy opponent in the football team. But this isn't about the matchup. This is about the team in general. I can't trust them. My number is going to be – it's going to be even lower. It's going to be a 7 flat. I will pull the wallet out, but I will not be happy about it. Probably by the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, for me, you know, that this was the golden tease for me. You know, I do think the Bucks win this game, but I certainly do not like that line. I'm with you. Moving to Washington, the Washington football team. I'll tell you what, Frank, I don't think I'm as high on the Bucks as the public may be. I am higher on Washington than I'm sure the public is. Here's why. First of all, Washington has not lost a game by more than 8 points since October 11th. We're nearly dating back 3 months here. They have been very competitive this season. And when Alex Smith starts, this team is 5-1. Bruce Arians got this one wrong. They're not 4-1. They are 5-1 when Alex Smith starts under center. This is a great defense, phenomenal defense. You know, Ron Rivera knows how to coach a defense, knows how to get them going, and he has. And they've got, I mean, their players in the box are fantastic. I mean, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, that is a scary, scary combo. And they are going to pressure quarterbacks. All they need to do offensively is just play it safe. And that's why when Alex Smith has started, they are 5-1 because he is the uber safe quarterback. He just takes the easy throws. You know, he's not going to push the ball downfield a ton. Going to play it safe. He's not going to turn it over. And again, that's why they're 5-1 with Alex Smith. I like this team a lot more than the public does, and I think they're a lot more dangerous than their record suggests. I'm at a 6.8 with Washington.
Wow. Do you have a bet on them already?
So I will tell. I teased the Bucks down. So I've teased the Bucks down to 1.5. But I will say if this line keeps growing, I might sprinkle a little on this Washington money line as well, because they're gonna pressure Brady, and I don't love his ability to move in the pocket, and that's why they lost that primetime game to the Bears, because the Bears just brought a ton of pressure and he couldn't handle it. You know, when you have been able to get in his face, he doesn't move in the pocket the same way 28-year-old Tom Brady used to. So my bet here is on the Bucks, but I teased it down, and I'm considering that Washington money line right now.
Wow, that was a nice sell. I really do like that. I think you just raised my number a little bit again. Well, you didn't raise it last time, but you know what I mean. I'm not confident, obviously, in the football team. I don't think anybody's necessarily confident. That's probably a bad way to put this one. It's not a very interesting thing to say about this team. You know, they're 7-9. They won the NFC East. Congrats. I know they have a good defense. I know when Antonio Gibson's healthy, they can run the ball a little bit. I just don't see it. I mean, they barely squeaked past that Philly team. Philly had to put in their third-string quarterback. Well, I guess Carson Wentz the third string, I guess. That's actually weird to say. But they had to put in Sudfeld to even make that game was still close.
To lock up that 6th overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, they could barely win that game. We all know Philly sucks. I'm not confident. You can't play 6 games versus the NFC East and only have 7 wins and have me be confident in you. I just can't do it. My confidence rating on them is going to be like a 5.9. Definitely not betting on them.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the Baltimore Ravens. And, I'll start us off here. This is, outside of Buffalo, or, you can make an argument here that the Ravens are the hottest team of football. And not just in terms of winning, they've won 5 straight coming in, but they've covered 6 straight spreads here as well.
And we've bet
And
on them all too.
yeah, we
Congrats to
have
us.
been, and absolutely. And hey, they've been picking on a lot of bad teams. They're not getting a bad team this week, but I am still confident. I think the difference between this year's Ravens team and last year's Ravens team at this point is they're peaking at the right time right now. Last year they started the season super hot and kind of, slowed down a little bit come late in the season. This year it's been the opposite story here. And again, whether that's schedule or not, that's a different discussion. But this is a team I am very confident in. I think Lamar Jackson, he's just been electric still with his legs. J.K. Dobbins gives me a lot of confidence in this team as well. He's running the ball very well. Baltimore defense is top notch. I am at an 8.7 with this team. I'm very, very confident.
I like that. I really like where your head's at. And like I've said in the first 2 pods, I reward teams that are good to me. I'm not hopping off the Ravens train until I lose. I'm just not doing it. I am writing this thing out. I'll keep going into next season if they let me. I'm very hot on them. They're definitely the hottest team in the NFL. I like most about them. They beat up on bad teams because they should. A lot of people will say that as a negative thing about them, but isn't that what you're supposed to do? That kills me about the Steelers. When the Steelers have a bad team, when Steelers have, a good record and they're beating all these bad teams, they're not blowing them out. It frustrates me. If you're a good team, you should smoke these teams. Make it a 3-touchdown game. That's what the Ravens do. They've shown the ability to put up 47 points. That was the Lamar almost pooped his pants game. That's a lot of points versus Browns defense. That's, they're decent. They're good. They're not terrible. I like them. That was a primetime game. Clearly they're good in primetime. I'm definitely betting the Ravens. I'm really hot on them. I'm going to go with like a 9.1 double unit.
Wow. That is very confident. I'm a little skeptical about this spread just being the 3.5. If you can find it 3, I think you got to do your homework here. Obviously check out sportsbettingdime.com where we do the line shopping for you, but you want to find this line at 3 here, in my opinion, anyways. But moving on to that team they are playing this weekend, the Tennessee Titans. I am also very confident in this team here too, Frank. This is the problem. I think this is going to be the game of the weekend. Ryan Tannehill, quietly put together, an MVP caliber season. He's not going to win it.
Wow. And I've never heard anybody say that.
He's been fantastic. He's been efficient. He's come up with big plays when they need them. Hey, Derrick Henry's going to get a lot of the credit in that Tennessee offense. Becomes the next member of the 2K club there, but and that's I think kind of the slight on Tannehill's that hey, a running back is the biggest name in your offense. But even look to last week, the Titans need a big play, or else they're going to overtime with the Texans there and potential to lose the division. And what does he do? Tannehill drops back, fires a bomb to what a ball that he tossed out there to AJ Brown and sets him up in field goal range. Ryan Tannehill has been fantastic. He's efficient, and this is the difference between him and Alex Smith, because Ryan Tannehill plays it super safe too. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot, but he does still push the ball downfield more. He just does it very safely. He doesn't make bad throws. And again, you have the Derrick Henry argument that this, Titans are built for the playoffs, right? If you can lean on a running back, and especially if you get out in those cold weather games, this is a very, very tough team to bet against. I'm at an 8.4. I really like this team. Their defense is the only thing that is holding them back to me. Obviously no Dean Pease as the defensive coordinator this year. So Mike Vrabel is going to have to, put together the Lamar Jackson scheme here. I don't know if they can stop him again. The defense hasn't shown that really this year that they can, but I am still just based off of Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. I'm feeling very good. 8.4 for me.
That is pretty high. And like you said, I'm also high on this team. It's going to be a phenomenal game. It might not be that high scoring, but if you really love football, phenomenal game. Or it could be really high scoring. Who knows? I mean, they both can put up points. That Tannehill MVP thing is interesting to me, so I just had to look up his numbers.
I shook you up a little, eh?
Definitely shook me up. I'm not a Tannehill defender. I'm really not. I mean, there's no denying he had a good season. Like, let's be honest. I mean, but MVP might be a stretch. Here's his numbers: 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 106.5 QBR, or is QBR and QB rating, like, aren't there two different stats? I'm not even sure which one I look at.
Generally, yeah, I always call it passer rating when we're talking about the more traditional NFL number,
Right.
where it's 158.3 is the max, right? I always call that pass rating because
that's the older one. I don't know. This says QB
it's ESPN
rating
that runs their QBR.
Yeah, so 106.5. It's his career high regardless. And his completion percentage on here. Do we have it? Please have it. Doesn't look like we do, but I'm assuming it's high. Like you said, he does play it safe. That's a great season. He's better than I thought. It's not like he lit up the league and threw 40 touchdowns, but that's a really good season. I love Tennessee. I think this team is built to play. It's probably the best matchup on the board. They run the ball extremely well. Not having a good defense does hurt. Of course, come playoff time, you're going to have to defend eventually at some point. I'm not going to pick them to win the Super Bowl. But I'm still hot, man. I mean, they sent the Ravens home last year, and they ended the Patriots dynasty. Yeah. If they end up winning a game or two, they're going to be like, hey, what did you guys expect? We brought the same unit back. It shouldn't be a shock to everyone. Why are you acting surprised? I like him at like an 8.3.
Okay, little less confident than me. A point one off. I like it. Moving on to the last two teams here. So first up, we got Pittsburgh, and I think I know where you're going on this. So I'll lead us off here. I'm still confident in this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I know what they've shown the last month of the season. Obviously that loss to the Bengals, that's a low. That is a low that you should not see out of a Super Bowl contender, right? The loss to Buffalo, even the loss to Washington, you can make some excuses from there. I understand, but that Bengals loss tarnished their season, in my opinion. However, they close out with a win over the Colts 2 weeks ago, which basically was a second half outburst. They looked awful in the first half. And then Cleveland, they sit everybody, they get some rest. I think
almost won the
game. Lot of my confidence is coming from the fact that they just got Big Ben some rest, because I think he needed it. He just didn't look like himself. I don't think old age just all of a sudden hits in like a matter of a week or two. I just don't see it happening that quickly. I think he had to have some lingering, just nagging injury going on, and you get him a little bit of rest, and they hung tight against Cleveland in week 17 with their backups too, right? So I am still pretty confident in this team. I'm giving it a 7.6. This is a fantastic defense, and I think Big Ben will distribute in the playoffs. He'll show up. The big question to me, and why I'm not higher on this team, is will the wide receivers catch the ball? Because they have just dropped footballs all over the place this year. That's what's bringing me down. But still, 7.6 on the Steelers for me.
Yeah, you're right. I am still confident in this team. And going back to what you said about Ben, that's Ben every single season of his career. There's always something lingering. I mean, he's perpetually injured. But he'll play. He's tough as nails. Also what you said about that Colts second half, it came out that Ben called all the plays in that second half. He told, I don't know if he and Fickner agreed on this, but whatever happened, it worked. I don't know how that could possibly happen and have such an explosion and them not to do it again. I expect Ben to be calling a lot of the plays at the line. It was like night and day. All of a sudden, the Steelers weren't dinking and dunking. They were throwing the ball down the field, and they come back and they beat a good Colts team. Like, that's the Steelers we saw. That's the Steelers we thought we had. Unfortunately, they didn't get a chance to follow up on it because, like you said, everyone sat in week 17, almost won the game. That's not good for the Browns. I'm confident. I bet the Steelers almost every single week this season. and part of that's being an emotional Steelers fan, and it's a homer pick, but they've made me money. I'm definitely positive on the Steelers. They've covered a lot of spreads this season. I'll be pulling out the wallet. I won't be feeling great about it. I'm happy that they're at home. I'm going to give it I'm lower than you. I'm going to give it like a 7.4. I've lost a lot of confidence in this team. I just don't know who's going to show up, and the defense is so injured. Yeah, I'll be betting on it. Won't be feeling great, but I'm hopeful.
Well, hey, that's more than I can say about our final team here. The Cleveland Browns. I'm out. And you know what? If they can find a way to make it through this week, obviously my confidence would rise in them. But this is a team like we just talked about. Could barely beat Pittsburgh's B squad, right? They come up with that 24-22 victory, and yeah, I don't even want to call it a victory. This is a team who has all season relied on running the football, and now Joel Bitonio is going to sit out. They're arguably their best offensive lineman, one of the best guards in the entire NFL. He's not playing in this game. That is huge. The other one here is no Kevin Stefanski. This is a top contender for NFL Coach of the Year, and not for this isn't a guy who is just a great motivator and kind of relies on two really good coordinators. He called all the Browns' offensive plays this year. That was all coming in straight from him. He's not going to be able to coach this week. He's asymptomatic, so be it, but he is not going to be able to coach, will not be in the stadium. That is a huge loss. Those two people alone, I mean, I wasn't feeling that good about the Browns, even with those two. Without them, I'm at like a 5.7. This is a team that would have to win, in my opinion, with their defense. And the way that Myles Garrett's looked since coming back from COVID, he hasn't looked the same. He's been outspoken about it. I'm out. 5.7 for me here, Frank.
I'm out too. I'm definitely out. And just going from a grander perspective here, this is the Cleveland Browns. They don't make the playoffs often, and they certainly don't win in the playoffs often. They're not at home. They have everything going against them, seemingly. All the things you just mentioned, I'm not going to repeat them. They're obvious. They're obvious reasons to be out. I do wonder if there's a more creative solution with Kevin Stefanski, though. I mean, we've had this situation with other coaches before, too. Can we get like a hazmat suit and have him on the sideline looking like Heisenberg, like he's about to cook some meth with, whatever? Like, can we do something? Can he be like with binoculars, like on top of a building, like radioing some plays in? Like, we should get more creative with this. If like
that's where my mind went too.
If the announcers are announcing the game and they're watching it up in the booth, like, couldn't he just be watching it from his living room? Can you get him a live feed? I think the Browns got
Kevin Harlan was calling games from his basement. But
yeah,
we have the technology.
We have the technology. The offensive coordinators are way up in the booth. It's not like you need to be on the sideline. You know what? This is on Cleveland. A lack of creativity. You know what? I don't feel bad. I do have kind of like a soft spot in my heart for Cleveland. I have some family from there, and I'm happy that they're able to experience the playoffs for once every 2 decades. But no, I'm completely out. Let's not lose sight of who we're betting on here, the Cleveland Browns. You can't feel good about it. I almost feel as bad about betting on the Browns as I do on Mitch Trubisky, and that's saying a lot. I'm out. I'm not even close to in. I'm going to give it like a 3.2.
Whew, that hurts. I think you just broke the heart of Cleveland faithful.
They're used to it.
Okay, so those are all of the all 12 teams playing. Do you want to at all touch on the teams on bye?
Yeah,
we'll do that next week when they come back.
Let's talk about it in our Super Bowl. Let's do the futures right now.
Cool. Super Bowl futures. Frank, down to 14 teams here. So coming in, the Kansas City Chiefs are the favorites, plus 233 right now on average. I think you can find them as long as about plus 240, plus 245, depending where you look.
And pause for a second.
They are the favorites.
While you mentioned, like, depending on where you look, I know you mentioned earlier where you can shop lines. Matt's not joking about that. Sportsbettingdime.com literally has a row for you. And if you're in a state where betting is legal, there is no easier place. Don't waste your time logging into all these different sites. Just go on there, get the best line, and bet it. I mean, you're cheating yourself if you're not.
Absolutely. Home of the futures trackers, sportsbettingdime.com. So yeah, Kansas City, the favorites. And, again, the beauty of these trackers is you can see the entire ride. It's not just giving you the current odds. It's giving you, what they were at every point throughout the entire season. So you can see the ups and downs that every team's experienced. So Chiefs are the favorites. The Packers are the favorites from the NFC. You can find them about as long as plus 525 or so, but on average with them, you're looking at, plus 383. So you can still find them a little longer, but some books have the Packers very, very short. So those are the two favorites from each side. What do you think about the Chiefs, Frank?
Well, I feel strongly about them. I definitely think that they're my favorite. I don't like the value. I'm not betting it personally. They're definitely my pick to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to go with total chalk here. I'm going to go with Chiefs Packers. I mean, it's not exciting. Maybe if you bet those two with a little parlay, it'd be a little bit more exciting. You probably still wouldn't get great odds. I'm confident in it, but not enough value to bet on it. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, that's an awfully short number, but I will say it's only going to get shorter week by week. So this might be your, if you like the Chiefs, this is your last opportunity to bet them before, if they win divisional round, their Super Bowl odds are going to be awfully close to even money. But I feel very good about this team, Frank. Like this, I'm at a 9.9 with them, and that's why even right now at plus 220. If you can find them plus 240, I'm betting them still. I'm betting them right now. Patrick Mahomes is unstoppable. I don't believe him and Andy Reid are capable of a bad game in the playoffs. Say what you will about that first half a couple of years ago against the Patriots and the game they lost there, but this is Mahomes.
And the Texans.
The scariest part is. Well, they did. You're right. Yeah, they got off to a very slow start there, but I don't know whether you want to cue it up to KC turn it on or a Texans choke job there, but hey, they really turned it on there. But Mahomes. The scariest part here is Mahomes keeps getting better and better each year, and I think he's playing at a level that we've never seen before. I am so confident, and I don't even care too much about what their defense has done, which they haven't been bad, but it's just all Mahomes and Reed here. I'm at a 9.9.
Wow.
I would still bet them at this price right now.
Okay,
they're walking through the AFC in my mind, and as you mentioned, I've gone full chalk as well in my playoff bracket. If you're looking to fill out your own playoff bracket, though, make sure you check out sportsbettingdime.com. We've got a printable one there. You go on, fill it out, print it, compete against your friends and family. But where are you sitting on the Chiefs?
I'm not quite as high as a 9.9, but I'm high. I want to say it's like a 9.1. Could you check
I could not be more confident here, Frank.
Wow. I mean, that's almost full confidence. You're about to drain your bank account. Can you get a quick check for me? Because I do actually have two futures in. Before the season started, I bet on the Steelers to win the conference and to win the Super Bowl. And I'm wondering if the odds are – I knew I could have sold these for more, 6 weeks ago. But I didn't. I wrote it out. I have the Steelers plus 1,200 to win the conference and plus 2,500 to win the Super Bowl. I'm wondering right now if those odds are better or worse. I want to say they're probably worse now, which is like just completely unfathomable if you would have told me that 6 weeks ago. But somehow that's the way things shook out.
So they're a little bit better right now, Frank. You said what, 25-1 Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's correct.
So right now, on average, they're sitting at plus 2067. So just short of 21-1 right now to win the Super Bowl, and to win the AFC conference, which I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I was on this bet as well. I got them at 12-1. They're just a touch shorter. Just a touch shorter at plus 1075. So just a little better than 11-1. yeah, I rode with you on that AFC one there. I really like that team, but hey, you should feel good about it right now. I think you're not thinking of cashing out. Are they even offering you a cash out?
Yeah, I could cash out for less than I paid for it. I mean, it's not much less. I'm not doing it though. I mean, I'm riding it out. Let's go. I mean, the Steelers went 12-4 and whatever. I'm a Pittsburgh fan. I'm riding it
Absolutely.
out.
Give it at least one more week. In my opinion, I think you got a decision to make
It's just
next week there. But
with the Chiefs in the AFC, those odds for the AFC they're never going to be very good. So
no.
after the way they've looked all year, all right, I do have something else more tasty than my ridiculous futures that probably won't hit. This is the elusive and the inaugural 6-team wild card 6-point teaser. Matt, have you ever heard of a teaser like that?
Well, hey, you know what? You can find some people doing some crazy things on
Well, you haven't. It's the
online,
first
but
wild card slate with 6 games. You've never heard of it?
sorry, that's right. You did throw in wild card. I missed that bit. So no, you're absolutely correct. This is the
This
first
is
ever
the inaugural. This is the
wild
first ever,
card
and I'm
teaser.
encouraging everybody.
You're making history here, Frank.
We're making history on the SBD Odds Pod, the first ever 6-game 6-point wild card teaser. Lose some money with me on this or win it all. I'm going to break it down for you right now. Here's who I have. We're going to start it off with the Bills. Okay, I mentioned, and we're both high on this team. I'm bringing them down to -1. Now, some of your numbers might be a little bit different. Bills -1. Okay, next game, Rams. I'm getting them at +10.5. I don't like the Rams, but I like that number going over 10. That's good enough for me. It's a divisional game. I think it'll be at least a little bit closer than that. Or I'm never betting on the Rams again in my life, and they're completely checked off my list. So moving on, the Buccaneers, I'm getting them at -3. I wish I got this in earlier because I think that line opened at like 7, but 3 should be fine. The football team sucks. I'm completely out on them. All right, next game. This is my only total. All right, we have the Ravens, Titans. I like that going over 48. Both these teams can hang big numbers. I think this is going to be a matter of whether or not Baltimore gets scored on early in the game, but that's my number there. Then we go to the Bears. I hate the Bears. I just talked about how much I hate the Bears, and I am sick of betting on their offense. But I am going to poison myself on this one, Matt. I am going to go with the Bears +16.5. The number is just too delicious. You cannot give a team 16.5 points in a playoff game. If that is the one that ruins it for me, I might have to just hang it up for good and just actually do SBD play, which I will be doing anyway, but I might have to retire. And then finally, we're going to go with the Steelers +2. This game is at home. I just talked about how much I'm out on the Browns. I think this was kind of an obvious pick to finish it out with. So there it is. The payout is 50 to win 300. Those are +600 odds, 6-1. Ride with me. Let's do it. What do you think about it?
What do I think about it? Well, I'm going to give you the the kind of betting 101 spiel here, and to say that anytime you're parlaying more than 2 events, your odds are going down quite significantly. But
or going up,
let me
depending
say
how
this.
you look at it.
There you go. I like a lot of these picks. As you mentioned there, the Tampa Bay one's kind of tough. That, like you said, that line opened about 7.5. That, be much nicer to be sitting on that at Tampa Bay -1.5. But hey, Tampa Bay -3, you're kind of leaving the push open there. I think the pick that scares me the most is the Tennessee, is your total. The total you have in there. I think that's the one that worries me. I just fear Derrick Henry slowing that game down a ton. And I think your assessment is great, because your point that if Baltimore gets scored on early, it really could change this game. I don't love Baltimore and Lamar Jackson being put behind on the scoreboard early. I don't love their odds of scoring a bunch of points then.
It'll probably lose.
And I really don't. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that that really teeters there, but I like a lot of the other picks. I am huge on Pittsburgh this week. I hammered them at -4.5, and then again at -5 once we found out Stefanski was out. That spread opened, just for the record, Frank, at Pittsburgh -3.5. We're up now to Pittsburgh -6. So you should be laughing with your tease down Pittsburgh +2.
I'm getting 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. And yeah, no, I like a lot of your picks here. Just that 6-team teasers is always it's a real gamble. Let's put it that way.
Let's be honest. It's a loser's bet, but it's fun. And it takes me all the way through the weekend if I can make it through the first day. It's going to be fun. Whatever. It's, $50 is not nothing, but whatever. I want to talk about that total for a second. The reason why I did that is because, like we talked about, I'm very confident in both of those teams, and I found it really difficult to pick a side. Like I said, I'm more confident in the Ravens, but I couldn't do it. And if I really wanted to leave that game off the inaugural teaser, but then it wouldn't be the inaugural.
You had to put it in.
Exactly. I had to make it 6. So that's what I went with. Honestly, I like the under just as much, but I don't know. I just wanted to pick a game there. I just had to make a bet, and I mean that's sports betting for you. You got 11 to 10 chances. So let's it's not a crazy thing. Let's hope the betting gods are with me this weekend.
It's always more fun to root for the over than it is the under, right? And that's where sports books, pick on the public's optimistic outlook, right? I got 2 little bits of info for you here, Frank. One, I want to give you the public bet of the week.
All right, hit me.
This is the most lopsided game in terms of ATS money. So ATS just against the spread, if you're not familiar with that. And just all I'm looking at here is where the money has come in. I'm not looking at the number of bets. That's commonly referred to as bet percentage. So money percentage here. The public's bet of the week here is the Buffalo Bills. 86% of the money that has come in on this game so far has been on Buffalo. And that's also why I am quite surprised that we're starting to see kind of the odds slightly moving in Indianapolis's favor, coming from 7. There's a couple books that have gone down to 6.5, like I said. So a little bit of reverse line movement happening there. The second little bit of info for you, Frank, the SBD score predictor, my formula that I've come up with, it's been money picking upsets all year. It has one upset happening this week. Frank, if you had to guess, who do you think it is?
One upset happening.
Just one. And I'm not talking upset in terms of the seeding. I'm talking upset in terms of the spread.
Right. I'm going to say it has hold on. Give me one more second here. The Browns.
Hate to put you on the spot like that, Frank. But no, it is not the Browns. It has the Browns hanging around. It's not the Browns. It is the Los Angeles Rams. And it has them upsetting the Seattle Seahawks, which, hey, you've got you're sitting on Rams plus 10.5 here. So that's a really nice line for you. Really nice bit of info for you there. But the Rams are the one upset my SBD score predictor is calling for this week. I like the bet too. Like I said, I'm not that confident in the Seahawks. I don't think John Wolford versus Jared Goff really matters that much for the Rams offense. So interesting one there. But those are the 2 bits for me, Frank. My personal bet of the week here. Like I said, I did my own little teaser. I didn't follow you with all 6. I played it a little safer here.
Come on, man, you got to ride with me.
I've done the more sensible, we'll call it a little more cowardly, maybe more intelligent, depending.
Definitely more intelligent.
Which adjective you want to use is up to you. But I teased, like I said, I teased down the Bucks from 7.5 down to 1.5. And I've also got the Bills -1. So I've teased those 2. And like I said, I'm big on the Steelers this week. I think that line's going to get to 7 before kickoff.
Yeah, I think so too. Unless they get creative and do the hazmat suit, like I said, which I don't know why they wouldn't. But I think that about wraps it up for this week. I really love doing the episode this way. We'd love to hear some feedback. So anybody out there watching, anybody listening, let us know. Hit us up on our socials. I'm at Frank Michael Smith _ on Instagram. That's the best place to reach me. Matt?
At SBD_Matt on Twitter, always on there, posting whatever, betting trends, line movement, whatever you're looking for, sports betting, it's on there. Great place to get a hold of me too. And if you're looking for playoff content, by the way, obviously sportsbettingdime.com has you covered. I mentioned earlier, we've got our printable NFL playoff bracket. And hey, if you're just looking for more kind of, fun content, we just released a bunch. Frank, I just did a big piece on the bad beats of 2020. That's kind of a reader beware. I don't know if you want to relive some of these.
Yeah.
I've got a good. There's at least 10 in there, but man, I didn't remember how many memories I tried to suppress from earlier this year. So we've got some 2020 review content, some 2020 look ahead. Like I said, all the playoff content, whether you want betting trends, you want matchup reports, odds, we've got it all for you, sportsbettingdime.com.
Absolutely. The most underrated betting site on the internet. I don't even think it's close. And for shopping lines, I just don't know why you wouldn't do that. Don't cheat yourself. But that about wraps it up. Everybody have a great betting weekend. Lock yourself down, follow the CDC this weekend and just watch some football.